What's up everyone and welcome back to Reload Reacts episode 51. My name is Trey and today we are going to look through r/MaliciousCompliance, the subreddit for those who are technically following all of their given directions, but not the spirit of what they actually mean. This first post is by Stardust Frost. HR said we can't make exceptions, so I took all my paid time off at the same time. New manager comes in loud, talking about structure and consistency. Suddenly, no work from home, no flexible hours, no swapping paid time off. I asked to move 2 days, my cousin's wedding. She just goes, "Sorry, we can't make exceptions to anyone, it wouldn't be fair." Alright then. I put in a request for all 23 of my unused paid time off days. Straight through end of quarter, no overlap, no coverage. It got approved in like 10 minutes. Lol. Okay. Couple days later, she's in full panic mode. Wait, who's handling your workload? Dunno. Assumed you had a plan. No exceptions, right? She had to cover me and deal with fallout. Stuff piled up. Clients got peed. 2 people quit. I came back to a new HR memo. Managers can now approve flexible paid time off on a case-by-case basis. Turns out, fair looks different when you're the one getting screwed. That's crazy. This top comment reads, "I once knew a guy who put in a request for vacation and it got approved. So he bought plane tickets, reserved hotel rooms etc. for his vacation. Well, 1 to 2 weeks before the vacation was to start, his boss told him that his paid time off was cancelled due to a client engagement. He explained that the request was approved and he spent money on a bunch of non-refundable items, but the boss wouldn't budge and told him the expectation was for him to be working with the client during that time. So the time rolled around and he called in sick, took his vacation anyway, and then resigned when he returned. So instead of delaying the client a week or 2 in the first place, they had to scramble to find someone to take the engagement and it was delayed anyway. Management can be really effing dumb and short-sighted." Another person writes, "When my wife and I were getting married, she had invited one of her co-workers. They both put in paid time off requests. Her boss said that they could only remove her co-worker's request because they needed coverage and she had more seniority even though both requests were for our wedding. Meaning if my wife couldn't get the time off, her co-worker wouldn't be going, obviously. The co-worker removed her request, called in sick, and then they both ended up going to a different company and leaving her small office severely unstaffed." That's insane. This next post is by ZZ Del Marco. "I wore a suit to work and got my supervisor soft demoted. I'm posting mainly because I'm not a passive-aggressive type, and I'm in disbelief that this actually worked. Ever since I started at my job a few months ago, my supervisor, we'll call him Josh, has been micromanaging me. When I'm the subject of criticism, which is often, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt and ask him to clarify. What are your expectations? What specifically should I have done differently? Josh's responses are always vague, often something to the effect of, 'just do better.' I'd like to add in there, another common one is, 'do you not know?' I even had a meeting with Josh and HR to address this, but to no avail. Yesterday, Josh comes to my desk to tell me I need to dress better. Now, I work at a small company, and the vibe is unusually casual. A not insignificant number of people come to work wearing jeans, hoodies, t-shirts, and or baseball caps. I have never worn a hat to work, and I make a point of wearing a button-up shirt with a collar every day. This particular day, I was wearing a long-sleeve button-up flannel, chino pants, and Adidas Gazelles. Other days, I wear loafers and dress shirts that are tucked in. So I asked Josh to clarify, should I be wearing dress shoes, dress shirt? Tucked in? What specifically do you want me to change? Josh tells me I just need to dress better, and then I should talk to HR for clarification. So I go into HR and ask what is the dress code. I get a standard answer, pants, closed-toed shoes, no sleeveless shirts, etc. I ask, have I ever worn anything to work that poses a problem? HR says no, you're fine. Because I'm mad, and because my repeated efforts to resolve this kind of problem had gone unheeded, I decided to be petty. Fair enough. The next day, today, I showed up to work in a full suit. It's one I keep for events like weddings, so it's fitted and I look pretty sharp in it. Really sharp in it. It's also wildly and conspicuously overdressed for the office I work in. I had several interactions with people coming to my desk to comment on my outfit and ask what the occasion was. When anyone asked, and only if they asked, I told him I had been told to dress better. This was always met with disbelief and incredulity. 2 people even said they liked the way I dressed normally. When anyone asked me who the order came from, again, only if they asked, I told them it came from Josh. I was expecting to pull my little stunt for a week just to prove a point, and then go back to wearing what I had been wearing before. That's so funny. Word got around the office fast, apparently because the CEO, Josh's direct boss, came to my desk later in the day to tell me I would be reporting to him now, and that he'd be having a talk with Josh about this and other issues. It's important to note that I was Josh's only underling, so he effectively went from being a supervisor to just a regular employee. I'm on a bit of a high now. I think I'm going to come into work tomorrow wearing a different one of my flannels. Top comment reads, dress for the boss you want to have, not the one you currently have? Another person said, wear a tux tomorrow and demote the CEO. Then a wizard's robe and staff to overthrow the chairperson of the board. Exactly. Keep doing it, man. It's been working this far. This next post is by Obvious Secretary 151. Show up 30 minutes early. Sure, Dave. As long as you do as well. I'm 15 years old and work as a soccer referee. I will normally arrive 10 to 15 minutes early to a game, which is plenty of time to check in players from both teams and make sure the field is in proper playing condition. One game I showed up to, as an assistant referee AR, my centre ref, 18-year-old, let's call him Dave, told me that all refs have to arrive 30 minutes early to every game. I know this is not true, and stayed silent. We ref the game as usual, and returned to where we put our stuff at the end of the game. Dave told me that because I didn't arrive 30 minutes early, he would mark that I didn't show up, basically telling me that I wouldn't get paid for the game we just worked. I complained that this was a rule that he made up. He left the game without saying anything else, figuring that would be all. Note, if you referee without any ARs, you get paid like $5 more. I think this was Dave's plan. When I got home, I made sure to sign up to be sent a referee at every game where Dave was an AR. Poor Dave showed up to his next game 15 minutes early, which is absolutely unacceptable. I said nothing the whole game, but only marked him absent, which means he wouldn't get paid. This went on for a week and a half until his paycheck came in, and he was about, $120 off of what his total should have been. I did make sure every game that Dave was less than 30 minutes early. Dave emails one of the main referees who run everything to see what the problem was. One of the main referees, let's call him John, told Dave that he wasn't there so he wouldn't get paid. Dave put 2 and 2 together and realised what I did. Emails were sent between Dave, John and I until John had the full story. Dave was fired for making up rules and I got paid for the first game with Dave. Don't take advantage of young people. Take that, Dave. Now, I was going to say something about this, but I think the top comment sums it up well. It reads, lol, screw Dave. Not much else to say there. Just screw Dave, man. That dude sucks. Someone else commented here, on behalf of my fellows at r/Dave, we apologise for this man's un-Dave-like behaviour. Are you sure his name wasn't Dan? OP said, I was just calling him Dave, his real name was something else, lol. Bet it was Dan. This next post is by Mysterious Notice 500. Manager told me to CC her on every client email. So I did, including the ones where she's the problem. I work in client services, mostly just relaying info between clients and our internal teams. My manager isn't super involved, but last month she goes, "Can you CC me on every client email, just for transparency?" I was like, "Sure thing." So I CC'd her on literally everything, including the emails where clients asked why she missed their meeting, or where I had to explain delays from her not sending over files. A few days later, she starts replying to someone with, "Let's take this offline." One client hit back with, "This wouldn't be an issue if you had shown up." She hasn't brought up CCing since, but if she does, I've got drafts ready. The top comment reads, "Don't ask me what I think of you. I might not give the answer that you want me to." Yeah, this is very textbook be careful what you wish for. I mean, she asked for every email and she got every email, including the ones where her incompetence is the subject. So, I mean, just don't be incompetent if you're gonna be like that, you know? Also, the client is based for that response. But anyway, this next post is by Endoman13. Is that like a Minecraft? I'll let you know every time I use my garbage can. I've never met anyone that said, "Oh good, an HOA." We all have trash cans, but the sight of them offends the delicate eyes of some, so I compiled with the new rule of no seeing bins from the street. I find a notice of my bins being out, which is surprising because I'm the only one who touches the cans, and I know I'm 100% compliant. I call in and ask why I got the notice. The full description says, "Bins in driveway with lids off." I asked if this happened to be a Tuesday, and sure enough, it was. Wednesday is pickup, and I was doing my weekly cleaning. I was effing using them, I calmly explained through gritted teeth. "Oh okay, I'll remove the notice." "Great, but how do I prevent this from happening again?" "Oh, I guess notify us." "Alright," I said, "I'll notify you every time I'm using my trash cans." "Oh, that won't be necessary." Well, clearly it is. That was 5 Tuesdays ago. Today, I once again called promptly at 10 o'clock and let Alan know I was about to use my trash cans. You know what Alan said? "You know what, Mr. Endoman? I'm just gonna put a hold on any trash can notices for you." Hey, you know, Alan, that would be swell. That would be swell. Thank you, Alan. What a true friend. Here's what some of the comments have to say. "I got a trash can ticket in the mail. The photo showed me actively pulling weeds, and the trash can was rolled over by me where I was throwing weeds away. Gotta love HOAs." Someone replied and said, "I'm surprised they didn't attach a second fine for having weeds in your yard, and a third for throwing them in the trash instead of the yard waste bin." Wait, you called him at 10 every Tuesday for 6 weeks straight? Gotta be compliant. I once received a warning letter from my HOA that the blades of grass on my lawn were above the allowable 4-inch maximum length. That was the day I wish I had the superpower of being able to mail an outgoing punch to someone's face. My lawn was green and weed free, but the line was drawn at the height of grass blades. Sometimes I want to skip a week of mowing. F me for taking a weekend off. The HOA before that, my dogs were barking too loudly at night. They never responded to my reply email that I don't own dogs or pets of any kind. One of my neighbours manifested invisible dogs and placed them onto my property and blamed me for my inability to control their natural behaviour. That was the day I wish I had the superpower of being able to punch a neighbour through drywall. Fair enough. The next post here is by eGrant03. Can't remove the charge? Well, I'll just use it then. In the early 2000s, when I first moved out on my own, I rented from a complex that charged you for assigned parking. It was an upcharge of $25 a month. If you didn't get assigned parking, you would have to fight for a space on the street. My apartment was in the back of the complex, and I was getting over a recent knee and ankle injury, so I opted for paid parking that was relatively close to my front door. My car was a junker, 3 years older than I am, but it ran semi-okay and the heater worked. As a newly minted adult, I was so happy to have it. About 3 months into my lease, my car went to the great scrap heap in the sky. I had gotten used to the local transit system and discovered a nearby store would drop off groceries for me. This was long before Walmart and other stores started doing it, so it was much cheaper than figuring a month's supplies on the bus. So I opted to not replace the car and utilize the bus pass my work reimbursed me for. I went to my leasing office and told them I no longer needed the space and would you please remove the extra charge from my bill. The manager at the desk was new and had never been asked that before. She promised to look into it and let me know. I was naive and figured it would be gone come next month. Nope, it was still there. I paid all but the parking space and called up the complex. Same girl. She said she was awaiting word from higher ups and offered me a credit for the charge as a one-time courtesy. I reminded her that I no longer owned a car. I hadn't just changed my mind. I told her that the space had been empty for close to a month now and that I won't be utilizing it. She said she understood loud and clear and would get it sorted by next month. 3 days before rent was due, she finally got back to me. Apparently, it was in my lease and couldn't be removed without breaking the lease and signing a new one. Even if I didn't move out, the lease breaking and initiation fees would be charged to me, and my rent would go up to the new current market value. This would be over $1,000, so not an option for someone freshly on their own. I kept the parking spot on the lease. 3 weeks later, I was reviewing my lease to get the phone number for maintenance, and noticed a clause for the parking space. Essentially, I could park a motorcycle, scooter such as Vespa, car, truck, SUV, or trailer in the space. Gears were turning. For me to be in compliance, I had to have wheels on anything parked in my space, so I went to my local version of Craigslist and found a wheeled container similar to a shipping container. It wasn't cheap, but it was worth every cent. The complex offered storage sheds at an upcharge too. Being fresh out of high school, I didn't have much to store. My neighbour did though. I threw a lock on the unit and offered it to my neighbour for half the cost of a shed, $35 a month. He was able to move his stuff out of his storage unit, where he was paying over $100 a month, and the container was available 24/7 365. He was happy for the arrangement and I paid several months in advance. The complex put several tow stickers for out of compliance on the trailer, but I called the tow company and faxed them a copy of the lease where it says trailers are allowed. The container was registered with the county as a utility trailer, so there's nothing they could do. They tried to fine me for improper parking, but again, I had proof I was within my rights. They even offered to remove the charge for parking on my lease if I would relocate the container. With what my neighbour was paying, I could cover my water bill every month, so I declined. I stayed 18 months and sold the trailer to my neighbour when I moved out. He had to rent a car to relocate it to his assigned space, but he said it was worth the couple hundred he paid. He ended up saving over $1,000 a year renting from me. Other neighbours even started bringing in their own containers too, even if it meant getting a second space. Sheds were being vacated at such a large volume, the complex tried to give them away at 6 months free. Few took them up on it. The complex amended the new leases to exclude trailers, but could do nothing about those that had already had them in the spot. Instead of moving out and giving notice, renters would reassign their lease to new people so they could be grandfathered into the trailer clause. I drove by the facility 2 years or so after I moved out, going to a friend's for Thanksgiving. The complex had been sold to a new owner and changed their name, but wouldn't you know, there were still about a dozen wheeled shipping containers parked on the lot. Edit. As there's some confusion and people fighting, the trailer was small, Think of 4 dog kennels in a 2x2 configuration. You could fit a table and chairs in there, but you'd scrape the ceiling. It was in rough shape. This was back when the dollar store, not Dollar Tree, sold spray paint, and I took care of repainting it myself. I negotiated drop-off to the complex from the seller, and with spray paint and delivery, I think I was out like $700. Keep in mind, this is not the massive 40-foot trailer picture I posted a few times as a reference. It's that style of trailer. Registering the trailer was super duper cheap, like around $30 and possibly even less. When I sold it to my neighbour, I got $300 or so for it. I took a loss, but without a car, I didn't want it and he approached me first when he found out I was moving. There were a number of colleges and universities near where I rented. Most leases banned subleasing, but lease changeovers were commonplace. You go to the complex and tell management, "I'm done renting here, but instead of breaking my lease, my friend is going to do the rest of my term." You usually didn't get the deposit back as it stayed with the new renter, but you didn't pay an exorbitant lease-breaking fine. It also kept the apartment seamlessly occupied without tenant gaps, which most places needed. If they sold the trailer to the next guy or to their neighbour, I am uncertain. I wasn't privy to those decisions. All I know is 2 years later they were no longer XYZ Complex, but under a different name, and a dozen or so trailers still remained. As for the 18 months I stayed, 1 year in a lease, 6 months at month to month, in my state, addendums to leases require you to enter into a new leasing term, and that was not gonna happen. I don't remember if they charged a month-to-month fee if I didn't renew my lease, as it was close to 20 years ago. I've been month-to-month for 3 years at the place I've been living for 4. Some places charge one, some places don't. Rent can still go up, but changes to the lease that are substantial cannot take place unless I sign a new lease agreement. I have had to look up laws and advocate for myself a lot because of BS like this. The tow company was mum and pop. They were not predatory, and I knew that multiple legal tows could get their license pulled the minute that first tow sign went up. I was practically shoving my paperwork down their face. No way that could play the ignorance card after that. They still exist to this day and now have multiple locations. In fact, they are the assigned tower for my current complex too, ironically. Finally, storage sheds or units are required by my state to be month to month. It's a state law that goes back to at least the 1980s. I've had to memorize a lot of laws regarding storage for my job. So the apartment couldn't force anyone to keep their sheds, so my neighbour cancelled at the end of his next month. Great guy, lived in a 3-bed with a set of twins, 1 boy, 1 girl. Top comment reads, "That, my friend, is a job well done. Not only have you given them the triple middle finger, you've also helped out a ton of people over several rental generations. You may and should be happy for the way you've dealt with this and for all the people that have benefited rightly from your actions." I absolutely agree with that comment. This next post is by Stonks to Go. Boss asked me to wash work linen at home, so I did. I worked at a therapy clinic for a short span. We could use towels and pillowcases frequently for exercises and icing/heat applications. We had just moved to a new site that did not have an in-house washer or dryer, and my director had no intentions of hiring a contractor to deliver and pick up linen. We were tasked by the director with taking the linen home ourselves and washing it. Many of my co-workers just took it as part of the job, but I did not agree. We were hourly workers, and that was blatantly a work-related activity. When it was my turn to take the linen home, I clocked in on my phone prior to starting the washer, and clocked out only after I had taken out and folded all of the linen. A week later, my manager sends me a text questioning my extra time, and I simply replied with, "I was on the clock washing the linen." It was not long after that we had a new contractor coming by the office weekly to pick up and deliver fresh linen. This next post is by Taco Jesus Jr. Wow, what a name. Hold me back 1 year in high school over a single gym credit? Okay, how about I go to college a year early instead? I hated gym class, not because of the physical activity, I was in hockey and football, but the fact there wasn't enough time to shower before the bell, so you stink to high heaven for the rest of the day. So I would walk track with all the girls, peed off my coaches something awful, so they flunked me in my junior year and won't let me double up my senior year, so I would have to stay back. I had already picked out my college and I was accepted, tech school. Just had to finish my senior year, so I figured I could work something out with the guidance counselor and the coach. Nope, neither would budge. Okay, I'm walking away thinking I'm screwed and I have to basically take one class my second senior year. Then it dawns on me. Can I just start going to college now? Are there other alternatives? So I call my college admissions and college guidance counselor, explain my situation, what other options are available. Since this is a non-traditional college, no SATs, you can start without a diploma. The caveat is you must have one or equivalent to get your diploma. The state I'm from, they don't distinguish between the two, so it won't be an issue later on. So I called another meeting hoping that high school admin would change their minds. No joy, they stuck to their guns. Thinking they had me cornered, I stood up and said, well, I'm just gonna have to drop out then. I can't see missing a year of college to do just gym class. The coach thinks he's all cute and says, you can't go to college without a diploma. I relay what the tech school admin/guidance told me of their policy on this. Faces dropped. It's said into the guidance counselor that a dropout looks bad on her and the school, small school, when the state audits. She starts backpedaling and I wasn't hearing any of it. Later on that night, the principal and vice principal called a talk. I wasn't interested. I was all excited about starting classes in the fall. Yeah, that's weird. That sounds like something my high school would have done back in the day. That's so weird, man. They just don't listen to you at all. They don't treat you as an equal. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stories in r/MaliciousCompliance. Let me know what you'd like to listen to next in the comment section below, and also hit that subscribe button with your right pinky, because I post new Reddit content every single day. There are 2 videos on the screen, one of which is for the most recent video, and another is for a video the YouTube algorithm thinks you'll want to watch next. My name is Trey, this was Reload Reacts, and I will see you in the next video.